quick enough. We've seen what Kyrie and LeBron can do together. That duo alone should be enough to get you a couple W's.
Absolutely, and that's the biggest thing, especially being out there in the West. It's a grinded out type thing. You get a Kyrie there. Kyrie can win you games by himself. So if there is some load management, which we know we're going to see it, we're going to see load management with Anthony Davis.
Absolutely.
We'll see it with LeBron as well. Kyrie can get you some W's, too, with a younger cast or with whatever players that you decide to put around them. So that's the route that I would go right now. And then, speaking about Anthony Davis catching up, the one thing it is for being a big, it's easier, right? Because he doesn't have the ball in his hands all the time. A lot of it is pick and roll. A lot of it is, rebounding and getting those second chance shots, which we know Anthony Davis can do. And then also, too, think about it. Kyrie or LeBron, you just dumping it into AD and letting it and clearing out and letting him do his thing. And those two players are used to doing that with the teams that they have played on. So I don't think it would be that much of a learning curve for Anthony Davis as much of it as it would be for a guard that's trying to play with LeBron.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good point, man. Wow, you can be a drop of knowledge. That's what I like him. That's what we like on the show. Like I said on the introduction, been trying a long time to get him on the show to talk basketball. I didn't even think about that possibility of them being used to playing with him. Staying in the Western Conference, Golden State Warriors, of course, a grueling NBA Finals. End of the day, the Toronto Raptors are the champs. I guess I got a couple of questions for you about that one. Number one, my first question would be, if you're Kevin Durant, are you opting in, getting your $31 million and rehabbing on the Warriors' dime, or are you going somewhere else? And then also my second question for you would be, what's your thoughts on that team now? I mean, Klay Thompson, we got a torn ACL, Achilles tendon for Kevin Durant. Are you re-signing Klay Thompson? Looney's a free agent. Boogie Cousins is a free agent. I think you would agree with me, maybe you don't, that the dynasty is over. But what do you think the next step is for that team?
Well, the curious thing about the NBA is how they sign people, right? So it's different from the NFL. The NFL signs players off of what they can do for them, not off of what they did for them. The NBA actually signs people off of what they did previously. So with having that logic there, I think they do sign Klay. Now, looking at that injury, we always joked about Klay as far as being one of the stiffest superstars out there, right? Like it just, the way he moves and everything, he's just very stiff. So I'm kind of concerned about the ACL injury because it will affect his lateral movement, and he's always been good at being a good team defender. So I'm kind of concerned to see how he comes back from that, but he can, and he will. Now the Kevin Durant injury is extremely interesting as well, because we've seen that's one of those death blows, right, to an NBA player. We've never seen a player come back and be the same from that at all in no type of capacity. And, just as an example, DeMarcus Cousins right there. DeMarcus didn't look like he had any kind of lift during the entire NBA season. He just looked like a shell of himself.
Yeah, so, I agree.
I know that Kevin Durant didn't normally get by off of just pure athleticism. He's tall, he can shoot. So I definitely think that he will be still an impact player, but that Kevin Durant that we know and love and have seen so many years, I think that guy is gone. So I'm really interested to see what guy comes back, but I think he'll still get you buckets. Now, as far as the financial aspect of everything, yes, I was one of those people that said, yeah, opt in, don't worry about it, no pressure, just get back, get back on the floor. But again, there are franchises out there, and I know I joked around with it, but this seems like a Knicks thing, right? Knicks say, hey, look, hey, man, we'll give you the max. Just get out here, right? And we'll wait on you. It just seems like such a Knicks thing to do, because they always try to, sell you on the potential of something going down. And we never got a chance to see that with Kristaps Porzingis. And I just think that they will throw something at Kevin Durant. So if I'm him, I would definitely weigh the options financially and all of that. Again, where did he get his surgery at? He went to New York, right? So
yeah, I found that interesting.
Yeah, so he trusts his doctor. His doctor is up there. He may be able to get the best rehab and everything like that being in New York. And then if the Knicks throw him a max contract, why not? So it's all about, where are you at? Who do you trust to get you back there as far as your injury? And all that stuff plays a factor behind the scenes besides just the money and being there with certain players and stuff like that.
Yeah, and circling back to your ACL, ruptured Achilles tendon and people not coming back as their former self. I think, at least to my knowledge, he is the first person I can remember that's not really a high flyer, though. Like, you think about a person, right. Most people that get that ruptured Achilles are guys that are like, they like you said, they rely on athleticism. Him being a catch and shoot guy, he posts up because he's bigger than you, not because he's stronger than you most of the times. I think he can come back from this injury and still be a 20, 25 point per game scorer. Now, he used to be a terror on the break, on the wing. Will we see that? Might be a lot more layups than we'll see tomahawk dunks. But I think if anybody has a style of play that, you hate to say that, suited for this kind of injury, I'd say it's probably KD.
No, I absolutely agree. And again, the guy's like 7 foot tall. So, I mean, it's not like he's not going to be able to dunk it or anything like that. But, we never really seen Durant. We weren't going to peg him to be in a dunk contest anytime soon. So, like you said, again, it's not going to be that huge of a factor because, yeah, he's athletic for that big. But at the same time, like you said, he's great at shooting the ball, catch and shooter. And, he'll post you up. He has post moves. He modeled his game after Dirk. And if that's any indication right there, Dirk was not athletic. I mean, he just was smart, and he knew he could shoot. So yeah. I think that, again, it's going to affect him in some way. But at the same time, he shouldn't have a huge drop-off like you would think for any other player that would suffer that type of injury.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, before we go to the Eastern Conference, I want to stick to the West. Obviously, at least in my opinion, the Western Conference is ripe for the picking, unfortunately, because of the injuries. But you play the teams that are put in front of you. Besides the Lakers, teams that I'm thinking could make moves to actually finally get their championship aspirations, in my opinion, I'm thinking of the Portland Trail Blazers. Yeah, it was a nice story to make it to the Western Conference Finals, but we all got to see how good of a player CJ McCollum is, how good of a player Damian Lillard is. That's a team that's got to make a couple of moves, add some pieces that could possibly contend for an NBA Finals berth. I also, and you might laugh when I say this, but every time I think about a team that can't make a move, there's no way they can do anything. They're salary cap strapped, they're in luxury tax, whatever. Somehow, some way, Sam Presti and Oklahoma City always pull something off. And I think that the Houston Rockets are a mess. I think the end is near for the Rockets. So I'm thinking Blazers and Oklahoma City have a chance to really take advantage of the Warriors being down and out.
Absolutely. I can agree with that. Definitely with Portland, they got some nice players out there, and Dame is not going anywhere. He's just a hooper, man, and one of my favorite players in the league right now because he just always, just gets disrespected for whatever reason, but he's always there. As far as Oklahoma City, that's good. Yeah, I mean, they'll always be around because of Russ for right now. But the teams that I was actually looking at is you got Denver still right there. You got the Clippers that look absolutely polished from head to, like they just play team ball and are just very, very scrappy. So those are some teams right there. Now, as far as Houston is concerned, that's just an interesting thing right there, right? Because it's like you would think that this would be the team that you're like, yeah, go ahead, man. You guys got it now, right?
Yeah.
But for Harden and Chris Paul not to be able to get along whatsoever, man, that's an intriguing storyline right there. And I'm just wondering, like, just how much longer that Houston can just bear with them fighting like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's some deep stuff. I was watching something earlier, and it was at a presser, and it was Harden and Chris Paul up there. And I guess Chris got mad that, everybody was asking Harden questions and really wasn't talking to Chris. So Chris got up, tapped him on his shoulder and then walked off. And, like, but the way that Chris looked at Harden, like, it was like a fake smile. And then Harden, like, looked up at him like, seriously, dude, you just going to leave like that in the middle of this press conference? So it's definitely some things there. And I'll be very interested because, again, we were hearing earlier that they wanted to extend D'Antoni. Then those talks fell apart. Then now I just heard another rumor again that they kind of started talking about it again. Do you want to extend D'Antoni? We know what his style is, and we know that it'll get you, those flashy points and everything, and he'll be in contention. But he's never been able to get over the hump, right, with any team that he's been with.
Nope.
So do you want to go ahead and do that and give it one more try? Like, I don't know if I want to extend him. I would say go ahead. Hey, you got one more year left. we got this year because Golden State looks, in flux right now. Let's just play out this year, and then we'll see what's up. But to extend him, I think would be a bad move for Houston right now.
Yeah, I can't extend him. I haven't seen enough. I mean, I still go back to the 3-1 lead, Game 7 at home, Game 7 at home, period, against the Warriors, and you couldn't get it done. That's no excuse. I mean, D'Antoni, we've seen it before. You go back to those Steve Nash and Mari Stoudemire teams.
Right.
They were great regular season highlights. Oh, look at that flashy pass. Look at that dunk. They hit so many threes. But when it comes time to play basketball and knuckle down, his teams always seem to be a step slow or a couple plays behind. I don't see myself extending him at all. I can't believe I forgot all about Denver. You're right. That Nuggets team is so young. They have so many good players in that team.
Absolutely. Young, hungry. They play that playoff basketball that you like to see. They got the big. They got the guards. I mean, there may be one piece away as well. Like I said, the West is, as they say, it's the wild West again. It's not just Golden State and we gonna just tune out. This next season coming up is going to be extremely interesting again to see parity again in the NBA instead of it just being a 2-team race to get there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Michael Porter Jr. can do, too, for the Nuggets. Sat out the whole season with the back injury. I know he only played a handful of games in Missouri, but the games he played, I think I saw him play like 5 or 6 times. I definitely see talent with the kid. Now, moving on to the Eastern Conference, my first topic of conversation and my first question for you would be, is the championship window, if there even was one, is the window for the Boston Celtics closed?
The thing about the East is that I don't really have an opinion yet on what's gonna happen there until we see where Kawhi goes. That's gonna be the biggest thing. It was the same thing when LeBron was in the East. Like he kind of, he was like, hey guys, I understand you're making moves and stuff, but it's still LeBron, right? And
Yeah.
so I think with Toronto winning the championship, we owe that respect to Kawhi as well. Hey, make your decision. I'm in the I guess minority to think that Kawhi would stay in Toronto. I don't know if it's still minority anymore. I think though the people are starting to believe that as well. But I think he's going to stay in Toronto, and if he stays in Toronto, then I think we owe him that respect to say, all right, you got to go through Toronto. As far as Boston, yes, I think that window is closed because if you've seen the reports earlier today, everybody's reporting that Kyrie has been extremely quiet and has been just ghosting the Boston Celtics, not communicating with them at all. He did the same thing to the Cavaliers. He's a creature of habit. And so with that being said, I think that he leaves Boston. If he leaves Boston, then they're going to have to make some moves. But again, Boston is set up to do some things because they have draft picks. They still have young pieces and players there. Is it enough, though, to go to the finals? I'm not sure yet. So right now, I would say it's closed, yes, for the team that we know as the Boston Celtics. But again, we could see another team out there this season coming up, and we'd be like, wow, they're nice. So I'm not sure, but the team that we've seen, these past couple years, yeah, that's done.
Yeah, I would say the championship. I say without Kyrie Irving, they can't get it done. I can't see unless, like you said, they've been talking about it for years since they fleeced the Brooklyn Nets. Unless they turn those draft picks into really quality players, I can see that team without Kyrie Irving making the playoffs. Yeah, it's a lot of talent on there still, and you have to understand that Al Horford decided to opt out today. So right. I'm assuming he's doing that for the betterment of the team to give them more flexibility to sign players, or maybe Al sees the writing on the wall and is like, hey, I'm out of here. This is not what I signed on for. I signed on for championship runs, and our star point guard is leaving.
Well, what I've seen from Al is that he opted out of this to give them more flexibility and that they're going to try to work on another deal together. Now, that's just rumors as of right now, but he's trying to work on another deal. Maybe the deal will be a little bit more front-loaded. So they can play around with the cap and everything. But as of right now, he's planning on staying there. So until something else happens, or I don't know, maybe the Lakers pitch him and say, hey man, come over here real quick and hop on this. We won't know until everything finally comes out as far as the free agency period.
Yeah, and you're right. Until we find out what goes on with Kawhi Leonard, the Eastern Conference is it's a lot of us. You assume a lot because you don't know a lot, if that makes sense. One team though that definitely has to take a look at themselves in the mirror and